All right, welcome back. So today I am working on this old Montgomery Ward all metal cultivator, tiller, whatever you want to call it. And today I was just going to go preliminary through it. So looking at it, you can see that the date code here is like, now I'm assuming this is 1960. I could be wrong by the model number. But what I wanted to do is I actually found this currently, and I was gonna actually do some testing on it. I did actually have to put a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil inside the cylinder because it was kind of tight, because looking at it on the age, it looked like it sat. So basically I used a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil in there just to get it loose, to make sure nothing was seized, and it looks like it's okay. So what I wanted to do on this video is I wanted to basically diagnose it and see how far I can get along with it in terms of how we can find out what's wrong with it. So I actually wanted to do a diagnosis type video. So I'm going to actually run a compression test on this one just to make sure before I even spend my time on it, it's got good compression. And yeah, just test it out and we'll see how it goes. So I have basically a little bit of a mess here with all my tools, but yeah, so I mean, it's an older 3.5 Briggs & Stratton engine. It is missing one bolt on the cover. It looks like it was off at one point. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and test it. We'll see if I can diagnose it correctly and see if we can find out what the problem is with it. Why it was tossed out, other than age maybe, or just sitting around, not being used. But yeah, stick around. Let me just get you guys back on the tripod here. Sorry about that. And I will try to get the best angles as I possibly can. Just because I know sometimes people run into stuff like this, and I can honestly tell you I've not worked on older style Briggs like this in a while, but I've never really dealt with ones that are usually this old. So it is something a little bit newer for me to work on. Not necessarily newer in age, but newer in I haven't had experience working on it. So something new, something challenging, I guess you could say. So yeah, so just doing my first search. You can see it's got, I mean, it's hard to tell, but it's got pretty good compression. It feels like it does, at least. What I'll do first is I'll break the spark plug open. And I actually have it's not necessarily a name brand of spark plug test, or I'm sorry, of compression testing. It's like an Amazon one. And break that loose. And I've only used it a handful of times, so this one it feels like it has good compression. Should be giving me a pretty decent reading, I hope. But yeah, from what I could tell though, it looks like it might have been left outside. But you can see the spark plug itself, it looks brand new. So I think somebody tried to mess with it a little bit, but they couldn't figure out. My assumption, just by looking at this without even going any further, is doesn't have spark. That'd be my guess. And it is a Champion CJ14. And it looks even newer. There's no rust on it whatsoever. Usually when I find stuff, especially curb finds, they usually have rust around a little bit. But I'll try it out here. Oh, and just in case everybody needs to know, it was a 13/16 socket to get that off. I know sometimes people ask, so if I remember, I'll usually say it. And like I said, I got this no-name kind of tester from Amazon a few years ago. I've used it a handful of times. And it's basically just like a standard type kit where it comes with an assortment of just attachments and whatnot. You can see that one's dirty because I've used it before. Where it's a basic, pressure gauge. Now, how accurate is it? I guess, to a T, might maybe not be completely accurate. So what I'll do is, I think it's going to be this plug right here that you basically just screw into the cylinder itself. I'll line up the threads first before I use it, of course. And yeah. So this one's the correct one. So these have like little rubber O-rings on them right there. So basically all you do is you line it up here, thread it in, I always make sure that the threaded part is obviously the correct type. Just tighten it. Just basically hand tighten it so it's good there. And then all you do is basically just line it up and thread it in there. And actually, I probably could have just loosened it up a little bit and then tightened it down. So what I'll do is I'll go underneath just to make it easier. And what I'll do is I'll thread it in there. It has a little rubber gasket on the tip of it as well. So I'll hand tighten it if I need to. If I see the gauge is like way off, then basically what I'll do is I'll go ahead and oh yeah, and then this comes also with a little plug-in port here, so you can actually take that portion off, so you don't have to, if you have to thread it in, you know, you can thread it in without the gauge top being on it. So I'll straighten it out and then just line it up, and then I'll tighten it in. So it makes it a little bit easier so you're not bumping the gauge. I mean, you could get away from using that, but all right. And like I said, I do about hand tight. And then all you do is you just connect the quick connect on the bottom to the bottom of that. And it has a little pressure relief valve so you could relieve the pressure on it. So what I'll do is I'll get on the opposite side and I'll pull it over a handful of times just to see what type of compression I'm getting. And we'll see if this engine's still hopefully a good engine. It feels like it is, but I could be wrong. Just because it feels like it doesn't necessarily mean the readings are going to be perfect. Let's see if I could just get a better angle. Sorry about that. All right. And I'll pull it over and I'll show it basically. Yeah, so see my reading is coming off a little bit, so I think it's bleeding out somewhere. It's showing only about 26 pounds maybe. I gotta make sure that everything's good in there, connected. And what I'll do also is I'll just kind of grab the spark plug piece. I'll tighten it just a hair tighter. I'll just use some wrenches here just to make sure it's completely sealed, so there's no way of air possibly escaping on it. All right, that's good. And then I'll tighten it just a hair more there for the compression gauge. Okay, so yeah, so I'll try that again. Oh, it's getting stuck there. Yeah, it's still showing around 26 pounds. This time it was actually a little bit lower. What I'll do is now, hopefully the valve isn't sticking on it. It doesn't feel like it, but what I'll do now is just to confirm that it's low compression. Usually what you can do is squirt in some oil. So what I'll do is I'll squirt in some two-stroke inside the actual cylinder head itself. Let me just undo this. What I'll do is I'll grab some two-stroke and just put it in. I'm not using anything fancy. I'm just using like a generic like pre-mix, or I'm sorry, a mix type 2-stroke oil. And then I'm using like a dabber that I've had for a while. Okay, so not too much. What I'll do is I'll tip it over, and then I'll basically put the oil inside. And what essentially this will do is it'll mimic, basically if the pressure rises now after dumping some oil in there, it basically is going to say that you have a compression issue. Like I said, I just have a little dropper in there. And I just drop like, I don't know, about an ounce worth of oil in there. And then I'll tighten it back up. See if I can get a higher reading than the 26 pounds I was getting. But it could be because of the age of the engine and whatnot. So I'll thread it in, I'll tighten it up. Let it sit there for a second here before I tighten it. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll just use pliers just to tighten it down a little bit more, so it shows. And I'll try to do a reading there. Alright. Looks like it's in there. Hopefully it's not escaping. I guess we'll see shortly here. Alright, so then I'll pull it over a few times here, and then I will show the reading on it. I'm trying to get the tines not to grab the actual tripod. Apologize about that. I'm trying to get a good angle on it. I know it's kind of hard to record and get good angles, especially since I'm using like a camera phone off my phone. So I'll try not to bump it too much, but I'll show you the readings right after I pull it over about a handful of times. Alright, sorry about that. It looks like the camera just like fell over really quick. I tried to grab it as quick as I could. But putting some oil in there, it did raise the compression a little bit. I don't know if it's kind of hard to see, but it did raise the compression a little bit, but still it's very low for it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to put this currently on the back burner for now. I think I need a new tester, to be honest with you. I have to look into what kind of good tester there would be out there for just diagnosing small engines. Because, yeah, it doesn't look like it's reading right, but it could be reading right. I got to test it on something that I know has good compression, and then that'll be the ultimate test. But, yeah, doesn't look like it has much compression, so that could be an issue. That is why somebody tossed this, because they put a plug on it thinking that would fix it. But then again, if it doesn't have spark, it's not going to spark. But with no compression, it ain't going to work anyways, even with spark. So yeah, so this is going to be probably put on the back burner for now. It's definitely needs work. But what I'll do is I'll probably try to mess with it a little bit. I'll leave it be if I could find something similar to it or whatnot. I mean, in worst case scenario, if it needs a motor, these motors I sometimes come upon, so I could always just swap it in the future. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep everybody posted. I'll probably do a follow-up video with this one eventually here. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, like, comments, subscribe. Tell me about all your projects currently. I know currently I have a few projects on the back burner right now, just because I'm waiting for a little bit warmer weather. Today's a semi-warm day where I was able to actually come outside and just mess with something for a little bit. But yeah, as the season progresses, I'll slowly start getting out more videos. But still, nonetheless, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's old. It's very industrial. I mean, back in the day, they did make everything out of metal. So yeah, maybe I'll tear in this one in the future, see what's going on with it. I can just put it on the back burner for now. So hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you guys out on the next one. Take it easy. So just to add to that video, this is going to be a short little clip added to it. I did test this string trimmer, and I know that this string trimmer had pretty good compression because it ran, and it runs fine. So I just wanted to test the tester again, and it looks like just checking on it and pulling it over a bunch of times, it's actually showing me less than 50 psi, so something's off with my gauge. I haven't used this gauge in a while, so I'm not surprised, but I'm going to have to look for a better compression tester. So yeah, so stay tuned. I'm going to have to recheck the compression on the actual the Briggs & Stratton off the tiller here, and then maybe I can get a better reading, because this tester, even though it is showing less than 50 psi, this thing will run with less than 50. Obviously it's showing about like 40, and I think it might be just the connection, because there's so many fittings and different little pieces where they can air can escape or not get there, that yeah, I think it's just the gauge. So stay tuned. As soon as I get a new tester and it's actually a little bit more accurate, I can test things, I'll go ahead and I'll record it, and I'll show the status on it, because I really feel this thing has a decent amount of compression. I don't think it has about 40 pounds, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's not saying that it wouldn't run, but yeah, I'll keep you guys posted, and yeah, I'll do a future video on it as soon as I figure out which compression tester. If you guys have any recommendations, I wouldn't mind actually hearing them out. I know these are just like little cheapo kits, but yeah, any help would be appreciated. So thank you very much, and once again, have a great day. This time, final sign out.